For decades, people have looked up at the sky and noticed something strange. Long white trails left behind by airplanes, stretching from horizon to horizon, lingering for hours. They don't look like ordinary contrails. They expand, spread, and often cover the sky like a thin layer of haze. These trails sparked a theory that governments or shadow organizations were spraying chemicals into the atmosphere. They called them chemtrails. At first, this was dismissed as a fringe conspiracy theory, but now, many are beginning to ask, what if there's some truth to it? Machines to ionize the atmosphere, or networks of satellites to manipulate weather from space. Most of these never made it past the idea stage, but some are real and already operational. If you cool one region, another might overheat. If weather can be controlled, can it also be weaponized? The idea of weather warfare has existed since the Cold War. Imagine being able to cause floods in one country or heat waves in another without firing a single bullet. It's the perfect weapon, invisible, deniable, and devastating. They speak of aerosol operations, strange sky phenomena, and sudden weather anomalies. While some of these claims lack hard evidence, they reflect a growing public distrust. If you reduce rainfall in one area, another might suffer drought. The atmosphere is a delicate, interconnected system. Even small changes can have ripple effects across the globe. For thousands of years, humanity respected the sky as sacred. From Native American tribes to Vedic texts, the heavens were a realm of gods and balance. Now, we see the sky as a machine, something to manipulate, engineer, or control. Are we losing our connection with nature by trying to dominate it? Private companies offer weather modification services to governments, farmers, and even event organizers. Countries compete to control rainfall over shared rivers. Climate is becoming a resource, and soon, maybe even a weapon of economic influence. The science behind weather modification isn't new. In fact, it's over 70 years old. In the 1940s, the US military, is climate change a problem to solve, or a warning to rethink how we live? Who has funded several initiatives aimed at cooling the planet. One project, run through Harvard University, proposes spraying calcium carbonate into the atmosphere to block solar radiation. But who decides how much sun is too much? The power to end droughts. The power to decide who suffers and who thrives. If governments and corporations are modifying weather, people deserve to know. Consent matters. Public debate matters. In theory, these technologies can help us, but it might also create new problems we don't fully understand. Playing with the atmosphere could unleash chain reactions we can't reverse. But without transparency and regulation, they raise ethical and geopolitical concerns. Who gets to control the global thermostat? And what are the unintended consequences of such actions? That's right, a treaty to stop countries from manipulating the environment as a weapon. Why would such a treaty exist if the technology wasn't real? Began experimenting with something called cloud seeding, a process where planes or ground-based systems release silver iodide or other particles into clouds to stimulate rainfall. It sounds like science fiction, but it's very real. One of the earliest programs was Project Cirrus. Beyond the admitted weather control experiments, there are growing concerns about large-scale geoengineering projects, attempts to alter Earth's climate on a global scale to combat climate change. One proposal involves spraying sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight and cool the planet. It's called solar radiation management. Proponents say it could reduce global warming. Critics say it's reckless, unpredictable, and possibly catastrophic. A collaboration between General Electric and the US Army aimed at modifying hurricanes. The results were unpredictable and in some cases dangerous. During the Vietnam War, Operation Popeye was launched. The goal, to create rain over enemy supply routes by seeding clouds over the Ho Chi Minh Trail. The operation lasted 5 years and was so effective that roads turned to mud, slowing down enemy movement. This was weather used as a weapon, not in a hypothetical future, but in real, documented history. Fast forward to the 21st century. Countries like China, Russia, the UAE, and the United States continue to invest in weather modification. During the 2008 Beijing Olympics, China admitted to using cloud seeding to prevent rain during the opening ceremony. In 2023, the UAE used drone technology to electrically charge clouds and trigger rainstorms in the middle of the desert. These are not secret programs, they're public initiatives supported by science and governments. But here's where it gets murky. In fact, There are thousands of patents for weather control and climate intervention technologies. Some of them sound eerily like science fiction. Devices to steer hurricanes. One of the most vocal figures behind modern geoengineering is Bill Gates. Some scientists argue that interfering with Earth's climate system could destabilize weather patterns, shift rainfall zones, and damage ecosystems. Then there's the political question. In 1977, the United Nations even signed the ENMED Convention, an international treaty banning the use of environmental modification for military purposes. Today, many countries have active weather modification programs, not just for military use, but for agriculture, water management, and disaster prevention. Some whistleblowers claim these programs are much more advanced and far more secretive than we are told. Mainstream media often dismisses these ideas as conspiracy theories. But what happens when conspiracy becomes policy, when dismissed theories turn into documented reality? In recent years, cloud seeding has become a multi-billion-dollar industry, and yet most people still believe weather is purely natural. Rain falls by chance, storms come and go. But is that still true? There's also a spiritual dimension to all of this. What does it mean when we no longer accept nature as it is, but feel the need to fix it? There are no easy answers. Geoengineering might offer solutions to global warming. Transparency is key, because the stakes are high. This is not just about science, it's about power. The power to create storms. We must ask, if weather becomes programmable, who owns the code? Look up, ask questions, seek the truth, because the sky belongs to all of us.